On this week's episode of State Champs Esports, we've got interviews, game previews, Rocket League tips, a game review, and more. I'm your host, Candace, and thank you for joining us today. Our show is brought to you by Lawrence Technological University and Hungry Howie's. We start out this week with another reminder to sign up for our second annual Rocket League tournament. The deadline is next week, so you can register your high school team on our website at statechampsesports.net. Gameplay begins the week of October 19th, and the finals kick off on November 16th. We've got thousands of dollars in Lawrence Tech scholarships set aside for the winner, so sign up your team today. Now it's time to take a look at several recent gaming releases. Up first is FIFA 21, which is the 28th installment of the classic soccer game series.
And this is Royce. And a goal to give them the lead. They have their reward.
Well, here it is again. It's all about the pace in transition. They were so quick to get out from the back, but then there's plenty to do from there. He's hit it so well. Lots of pace, lots of power, and the keeper just can't react in time. Great strike.
Cartoon Network fans are rejoicing thanks to the new Ben 10 game, Power Trip. This is where you can transform into powerful aliens to battle enemies, solve puzzles, and explore an exciting 3D world.
Prepare to be canceled, Decibel!
Time to ground some monsters! Want a piece of rat?
All right! Gotta start running, baddies!
Another reset!
Up next is Milestone's Ride 4, which is being called the best motorbike game of the year. And finally, there's the survival horror game, Remothered Broken Porcelain. It's the sequel to 2018's Tormented Fathers.
It's just a bad dream.
With the act!
What have you done to her?
Chuck is back this week with another one of his in-depth game reviews.
Chuck back with you for this week's game review, and this one is for all you Star Wars fans out there. If you ever dreamed of becoming one of the starfighters in a galaxy far, far away, Squadrons is just the game for you. Available right now on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and is priced at a moderate $40. The Squadron single-player story mode is set near the time period of the original trilogy, so you can expect to see a glimpse of some of your favorites such as Darth Vader and Princess Leia. You will be flying as a pilot for the New Republic in the Galactic Empire, so you get to experience first-person flying in the famous X-Wing or TIE Fighter, and so many more. And for multiplayer, we've got two options at the moment: Dogfight, which is your typical deathmatch up to 10 players, and Fleet Battles, a 5v5 match where players fight to wipe out each other's capital ships. Oh, and I almost forgot. This game has virtual reality support on PC and PlayStation, so if you really want that true Star Wars experience, you can't pass this game up. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Up next, we've got a brand new interview done by our assistant esports manager, Joel Graves. Check it out.
Joel Graves here, back with another interview, and this one's going to be good. We have someone in the esports apparel industry. We have Anthony Guerrera. And how are you doing, Anthony?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since I've done an interview, but I'm excited. This is the first time I've actually interviewed anyone from the esports apparel industry. So before we get started talking about that, Anthony, how about we do a little bit of background on how you came into the esports space?
Yeah, so I've been in the esports industry for about 10 years now in miscellaneous factors, from a player to manager to staff. Did a lot of really big things, worked with some really big teams in 2017 for the IEM Invitationals for PUBG. Out of that, it was right around where esports gear came out of. It was out of frustration. We're about as grassroots as you can get. But I have a buddy who produces out of Las Vegas at their own dye sublimation factory. We saw a lot of pain points where, I've been a designer for the last 10 to 15 years, worked with Epic Games and a lot of other big names for Paragon and a lot of other games, but it was really weird to see that there was one apparel company selling jerseys for, $60 compared to another company selling them for $40, and one company had 3-week shipping, another one had 6. It just wasn't cutting it for what I expected in the apparel industry. So me and my buddy linked up. We started producing directly out of Las Vegas, and ever since, we are currently partnered with 40 schools in total, 26 of which are publicly colleges on our website. And we are also officially CLC licensed to produce gear for colleges like Clemson and Ohio University.
Is there anything else you do within the esports industry or gaming industry?
Yeah, so out of the 2017 IEM Invitationals, like I said, we started esports gear. Back in 2019 November, we sponsored the Esports Awards, and during that time period, I'm from Columbus, our factory's down in Vegas. We were lucky enough to meet some investors in Columbus who also own a center called Game Arena, which just opened up their second location at OSU. They own a program called Metactics. It's a game launch software. It does automatic server-side updating, which is coming this December winter period. We have a sister company in Vanguard, which is an esports team, but also runs production for the Valorant Sunday Showdown, which is the longest running and highest entry per week tournament in Valorant right now to date. I believe their largest tournament was 128 teams, and they were able to run that. But yeah, it's really neat because we're able to be connected with everybody like we are, on the level we are, to where it's not a huge thing for us to pass off partnerships and other things, like the Invent Global event that just happened. We actually just held a booth, but it was really cool because we were able to do it with all the companies there. So there were a lot of schools and a lot of people and students specifically that were interested, and it was kind of like a job fair mixed with what is esports, but we were able to bring a lot of knowledge to the table, and we had a lot of questions. But having that team behind me is really, really important for the growth of the company and making sure that everything stays organic as possible.
Yes, and being a grassroots company, if one of our viewers wanted to do what you do, create a company in the esports industry, what advice would you have for them to join the space?
Have a passion, and you're gonna have to stick to it. You're gonna have to work longer hours. You're gonna have to put more into it than the next guy, and you're gonna have to try to distinguish your company. You can't just be like every other company out there. You should try at least to do something to make a difference in the space to where people notice you. Otherwise, in the esports industry, it's the Wild West right now. There are a lot of companies coming in. There was recently, I won't name anything, but you can just look it up. But there was recently a company that invested $500 million over 5 years to open up, I think, 1,500 gaming arenas globally. 500 plus of those are going to be in the U.S. Across the United States. So there are a lot of people with deep pockets coming into the space, but it's important for people, like I said, organically, grassroots. If you have a passion, you have a drive, get into the scene, start with a team, and then just build from there, build a product that matters in the space, try to be different, and then just push it and, do everything in your power to, day and night, live, breathe, and eat that product.
Yeah, well, that sounds great. I know that we've covered a lot of information here, but where can people catch more information about esports gear?
Yeah, you can visit our website at esportsgear.com. Follow us on Twitter at esportsgear. You can also visit our Instagram at esportsgearus, and those are our social medias.
All right, well, thank you, Anthony, again for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to have someone relative to the esports industry, especially someone who's doing something unique in the apparel industry.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here, Joel.
All right, well, thank you, and that wraps it up for us.
All right, thanks, Joel. And to wrap up this week's show, let's head over to Kevin, who has an all-new Rocket League training tip.
What's going on, State Champs Esports Nation? I'm back again for this week's Rocket League tip. And today's tip is one that I use often to score goals, and that is hitting the ball into the ground. A ball is supposed to bounce, right? Why not use this to your advantage? Slamming the ball to the floor and towards the net will get a nice loft on the ball. Sometimes it can be too slow or fast, but no worries. Keep that ball moving and try again. I'm Kevin for this week's Rocket League tips and tricks. See you next time.
All right, good stuff, Kevin. And that is it for this week. We thank you for watching the State Champs Esports Show, and we thank Lawrence Tech and Hungry Howie's for helping us bring the show to you. Join us again next time for another episode.